my name is Renee Berglund, and today we'll be talking to you about how to operate a snowblower. Some of the supplies you will need before starting your snowblower are an extension cord, because we have an electric start, gas, oil, a funnel, some paper towels, and an air compressor or a regular tire pump. The first thing we want to do is check our gas level. Taking the cap off. Our gas is fine, but if you needed to add some, you would pour it in right here. Then put your cap back on, make sure it's tight. The next thing you want to do is check your oil. I'm going to pull the dipstick out and I'm going to wipe it down, and then I'll put it back in, pull it back out, and it tells you on the end whether you have enough or if you need to add some. Ours is fine, but if you did need to add some, you would just put the funnel on and pour your oil in there. You don't want to overfill it, and you also want to make sure your oil levels are at proper level or it could damage your machine. Put the cap back on. After that, you want to check your air pressure. Now, usually I just kick mine or touch them to see if they are low. You do want to check that every now and then. I mean, you don't have to make sure it's always in the range every time you use it, but commonly it has to be in the 20 to 24 psi range. So you want to take your cap off and put the pump right on there and fill it up, and just make sure you keep it at 20 to 24. If you go above that, it can be dangerous and your tires can pop, and it's just not a good thing. If you don't have an air compressor, like I said, you can just use a regular tire pump, but then you would want to make sure you have a tire gauge to check the PSI. Okay, next step, before running it, you want to make sure everything seems okay and nothing's frozen up. You want to turn your chute, make sure it turns good and there's nothing frozen. Press your auger control, your drive control. The reason we do this is you want to make sure your cables are not bound up or frozen. We want to check our plug-in for the extension cord to make sure there's no snow or debris in there. You don't want to get an electric shock. Come around here. Check your augers and your impellers. Don't ever stick your hand in here if it's running. That's not a good thing. But if you see that there's something in there, you can use your snow ice shovel and just kind of kick it out. Like I said, make sure you don't stick anything in there when it's running. Bam. The next thing we want to do, we've accomplished that nothing is wrong with it, it's safe to run. We want to start our starting process. And here is where we would use our extension cord. Plug this in. We want to turn our fuel selector switch to the on. We want to turn our run stop switch to run. Turn the choke to start. And make sure your key is in position. And then hit the primer button 3 times. After that, there's a switch on the side that you would push in. Due to noise purposes and the fact that it's the end of March and we have more rain than snow, I'm not actually going to start it, but I will go through the motions of how to run it. If you don't have an electric start, you would use the recoil pull. At this point, our snowblower is running, so I'm going to unplug the extension cord. And then I'm going to adjust my speed. You never want to adjust your speed while it's running. It could damage your snowblower. We also want to adjust our chute. We don't want to have it aimed at anybody, because if you get rocks or debris in there, it could injure someone or houses or cars. Another thing to keep in mind is when you're snowblowing, if it's really windy, you want to have it to where the snow is not blowing back in your face, because that's not good either. At this point, we're going to we have our speed selected. We're going to push down the auger. Actually, the machine is warmed up, so we're going to put it in run before we do that. Now we're going to push the auger control and the drive control, and we're going to start making our pass. Once you get to the end of your pass, you would just release these controls. Now you can either put it in reverse, or you can use your forward speeds and your drive control lever and pivot to turn around and to make your next pass. When you are all done snow blowing, at this point you would want to push down your auger control to make sure that everything runs out of the colors in the augers, so that the next time you go to use it, there's nothing frozen in here. Now you can walk around and kind of inspect to make sure that nothing is still in there, but make sure you don't put your hand or anything in there. If it looks good, we're just going to drive to where we're going to store it. So I would just put the drive control down, take it to my shed or wherever I'm putting it, and at that point I am going to turn the stop switch off and turn the fuel selector to off. So we're now done snow blowing, and I just want to go over some more points of safety precautions to make sure you never put anything in here, hands, feet, or objects, anything, because they can get cut off. Make sure you always point your chute at things that are not people or objects, and the snow is not flying back at you. And always check to make sure that it's in proper running order before actually operating it. I hope that it's been instructional for you, and I have some handouts for anybody who would like to look at them. Thank you.